F1 Manager 24 for the 2025 British Grand Prix. This is round 6 of this second season, the 2025 season on F1 Manager 24. And these are the drivers for this race. Fernando Alonso and Valtteri Bottas at Williams. Nico Hulkenberg along with Stoffel van Dorn are at Audi. We then have Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez at Alpine. We then have Esteban Ocon and Charles Leclerc at RB, the two drivers that I will be managing this race. Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris are at Haas, both joint on 26 points. Also on 26 points, Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson at Mercedes. Then we've got George Russell and Pierre Gasly at Aston Martin. We go to Ferrari with Alexander Albon and Daniel Ricciardo. Then moving down to McLaren, we've got Yuki Tsunoda and Zhou Guanyu. And then the quickest team on R&D supposedly is Red Bull with Oscar Piastri and Lance Stroll, currently last in the championship. So going into this one, we're actually going to upgrade some of our facilities here. So we upgrade the boardroom. Then we're also going to upgrade the memorabilia room as well. So some fairly cheap upgrades we can do there just to kind of keep morale up a little bit. We're then going to start manufacturing some stuff there. I think that might have been chassis, underfloor I think that was. And now we do the chassis. And then we're also going to start another manufacture project for some suspension. That's parts that we already have. They're not new parts, but yeah, we just wanted to, make sure we've got plenty of parts. And then we also start a brand new project as well there too. Then we get into our race targets. So we're going 12th or higher for Leclerc. And then for Ocon, even though it says his car's apparently the 11th quickest or 12th, depending on what you look at there, 16th or higher is his best thing there. So yeah, we're going to go for them. We should be able to get those two targets with our drivers, although as long as things go well. Looking at R&D though, a little bit concerning for us. We've actually slightly dipped in performance. We are the blue line 4th from the bottom there. We've actually dipped very slightly in performance with the new upgrade on our car, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, a little bit of a dip in performance, and unfortunately, we are not going forward the way we should be. Now Q1, Charles Leclerc being our #1 driver here. He is going out here first and going through the first sector here at Silverstone. So yeah, we'll see what he can do. But as we go through the first sector, I believe he's the first driver, or at least one of the first drivers. But in the end, he gets eliminated P20 for Charles Leclerc. He made a mistake on his push lap, and then on his second push lap just didn't find enough time. And yeah, he is dead last in qualifying, and Ocon only just makes it through to Q2 in P15. But that is a massive shock for Leclerc there, out in Q1, and P20 3/10 behind 19th Van Dorn. Both Audis, an Alpine, and I believe it was one of the Williams of, I think, Valtteri Bottas out in Q1 as well. Then we go into Q2, of course. Now we've only got Esteban Ocon here in Q2. Currently after the first lap, he's only sitting P13. Now that's pushed down to P14. And yeah, not looking great at the moment for Ocon, but he is improving on this next push lap. I believe I did his first lap on a used set of tires. Oh, actually, I don't think I did. I think it was a new set of tires, but he's pushing a little bit more on this second lap. And as we are about to head through the second sector, we're still green, and he does manage to get through. Out in Q2, it is Liam Lawson, Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Lando Norris, and Pierre Gasly. Those are the drivers out in Q2. So we've got one driver in P20. Where will our other driver get to in Q3? Well, after the first set of push laps, now this definitely was the case that he used a used set on the first lap. He's sitting P9 after that first run, so ahead of Hamilton in the Haas, which on R&D performance, I mean, strictly speaking, on R&D performance, our car is slower than all these other cars in Q3, but we seem to be having better performance than what the car is kind of telling us we do lately. To be fair, the last few races, we have had some pretty good drivers. We've got Ocon, who's a very good driver. Of course, Leclerc, a bit of an anomaly here with his qualifying position, but a very good driver. We had Russell and... who was it? Russell and someone else. I can't remember who it was now, but we had Russell and someone else last race as well. It was two pretty high ranked drivers there as well. So we have had a lot of luck with the drivers, the caliber of drivers we've had recently. And, Leclerc and Ocon, two fairly high caliber drivers as well. But we'll see how Ocon can do here, Currently, it's Lance Stroll on provisional pole in the Red Bull. Now, he's not having a great time. He's dead last in the championship, so he would love a great performance here. It means he'll get in a worse car for the next race, but I think he'll take that, you know, moving up the order a little bit, as Ocon really is flying here and looking very good. As he goes around the final corner here at Silverstone, crosses the line, goes P6 at that point in time, and it does end up being P6 in the end. Lance Stroll does take pole position quite convincingly as well, half a second quicker than Albon in second, ahead of Ricciardo, Sainz, Tsunoda, then Ocon. Piastri's all the way down in P7 in the other Red Bull, and then you've got Zhou, Russell and Hamilton rounding out the top 10. So that is the grid for this British Grand Prix in 2025. How will this go? Who will win, and how will our RB drivers do? Let's find out.
52 laps around Silverstone await our drivers as the anticipation continues to build.
Silverstone is certainly a circuit rich in Formula One history, from Giuseppe Farina winning the first championship race held here in 1950, right through to Lewis Hamilton's 2008 masterclass on racing in the rain.
Silverstone is a power circuit. It demands downforce and total confidence in the car for a driver to keep their foot planted through Sector 2, through the high-speed corners at Woodcote and at Copse, and carrying on through Maggots and Beckett's. The excitement is building, there's electricity in the air, but there's no surprise in that. It's race day.
Right, so looking at our strategy for this race, and it is going to rain. We're going to be starting on soft compound tyres, but then we're going to go into an intermediate tyre phase, and then into wet tyres at the end. So we're going to have rain here at Silverstone, typical British Grand Prix. Let's see how that affects the race today, because, yeah, it's going to be interesting having a dry to wet race.
Final checks are being carried out by the teams, and it won't be long until we get this race underway.
8 isn't quite where they'd want to find themselves, but we know they're capable of turning this around.
But just what will happen here, your guess is as good as mine. Hold on tight, it's the British Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Here we go for the British Grand Prix. Stroll at the front there. He's got a good start. It's actually the two Ferraris that are going to be side by side going into turn 1. Albon trying to stay ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, and it looks like he might have just about done that. You've then got Sainz and Tsunoda side by side a little bit further back for P4. Ocon still just kind of cementing his position there in P6. Leclerc currently still dead last, but I'm sure he will start making some moves. As, yeah, Stroll's had a pretty decent start here. Albon, though, a little bit of a wonky first initial start because he had his teammate right next to him, but has seemed to have got a better secondary launch here and is right on the tail of the leader now. Now we watch Tsunoda just ahead of Ocon. He was having a go at Sainz, but hasn't been able to make anything stick there. Ocon's got Piastri behind him in the Red Bull. Now we're going to look at Leclerc, his first move of the race, going up the inside of, I believe, was that Nico? No, I think it was it Van Dorn? Or was it Hulkenberg? It was one of those guys in the Audi. Leclerc making a move, and here's Leclerc making another move, this time on one of the Alpines. They're up the inside into the left-hander, and there's another position for Leclerc. So he's making early quick work here, which is what we want to see from him. Now Daniel Ricciardo up in third place, but he has a spin around that corner, and that's going to cost him massively, falling towards the back of the grid. Not so good for Daniel Ricciardo there. Leclerc, as I said, up into 18th, Ocon 6th, but as you can see, lap number 5, and already we've got rain here as there's sparks coming from the back of Ocon's car. He tries to go up the inside of Zhou into that corner there off the straight, but not able to make a move. But at the end of that lap, I'm going to take the risk with Leclerc because he's right down the back. We're going to take the risk and come in for a set of intermediate tyres. We haven't been told that it's inter-tyre time yet, but we've got to take a gamble with Leclerc here, so we're gonna go for it. Now Albon right up the back of Stroll going for the lead here, and he's going to try and go round the outside of that corner. What a move for Alexander Albon, and they all come into the pits after that as well, so a nice move for Albon there. Now Ocon, because well, I think did I go one lap later with Ocon? I can't quite remember. I think I went like one lap later than everybody else with Ocon because I just didn't quite react quick enough to get him in the pits at the same time as everybody else. We'll see how that goes, but as we come out of the pits here, Max Verstappen is in P2? No, Max Verstappen's in P1 in an Alpine. What is going on there? I'm having a look here because I'm like, what's going on? He's on the intermediate tyres. Must just have had the perfect time stop. And yeah, Verstappen is leading the race in an Alpine. What is going on here? And Ocon is in second. So I don't know what's gone on there, but somehow we've managed to chef this. We're in second. We're now in first. Ocon takes the lead from Max Verstappen. It is now Ocon leading this race in the RB, Verstappen in the Alpine in second, as a few laps later we have a yellow flag crash involving multiple cars. We're going to have a look at this, and it's Oscar Piastri. I feel like he's had a terrible time lately. Of course, he's in the best car on the grid, but has been having a good time and just tries to go for a move into Cops there and just clatters with, I believe that's one of the Mercedes there. Not good for Oscar Piastri. If he keeps that up, he's going to be still, you know, right down the bottom of the championship and still driving that Red Bull next race, which isn't a bad thing because it's a good car, but if he's not making the most of it, it's not good. Leclerc's also really been helped out here in the pit stops. I think it might have been because other teams were like double stacking. He's now up to was P9, now P8 as he's gotten past Albon. The grid has just completely shifted around here with this rain and with the pit stops, as Leclerc then gets another position, this time on one of the Aston Martins, I believe, of George Russell. They're still side by side around there, but he does eventually get the move done. And yes, it was George Russell. Lap 17, Stroll is now in second. He's managed to get ahead of Verstappen, but he's 3 seconds behind everybody else. And then we've got this massive gaggle of cars here, and Leclerc goes for a very brave around the outside move on, I believe that was Lewis Hamilton in the Haas. Great move there for Charles Leclerc. He's now up to P6, so he is making moves through this race. Nico Hülkenberg, though, struggling here as he has a big old spin, spins the car around twice all the way around there in the Audi. That is not what he would be wanting. But then we're going to come in with Charles Leclerc with everybody else and go on to the wet tyres now. Lap 20 of 52. We're not even halfway through the race yet, but it's now time for the wet tyres. Could be a bit of a stretch to get these tyres all the way to the end of the race, but it's what we've got to do at the moment. If we've got to change into another set, we will see. It may dry out towards the end of the race, I'm not quite sure. But it's very heavy rain at the moment now. Because Ocon was leading, this time I had to go one lap later than everybody else because I didn't pull the trigger first. I reacted to everybody else. And that has, well, actually it hasn't really affected us because, as you see, we come out there behind, I think it was Hamilton and Russell, was it? But those guys hadn't pitted yet. So we are still in the lead now, but only 2.5 tenths, 3 tenths now ahead of Stroll in second. Bigger gap, 10 seconds back to Verstappen in third now. As Leclerc is still in this big gaggle of cars, this time he's going up the inside of the other Aston Martin of Pierre Gasly, getting another position there. There's just so many cars all over the place of such different speeds as well. Like, it's a real random gaggle of cars here with all this. I mean, look at all these cars. Look at this massive train of cars here. Pierre Gasly currently P9. He's about to be overtaken by George Russell, his teammate, though, because Gasly still hasn't changed off the intermediate yet. He's trying to hang it out on these inters, but from what I'm seeing of the rain, and I mean from what you can see right there, it's only going to get heavier, the rain, so you need to be on the wet tyres. Even if you are on the wet tyres, in Oscar Piastri's case, yeah, you're still not going to have the best time if you make mistakes there. It is getting worse and worse for Piastri. I think he actually had another spin before that I just didn't show because it wasn't really worth it, or maybe he ran wide at one point. I think that might have been what it was. But yeah, Oscar Piastri not having a good time. Another person not having a good time is Pierre Gasly. He finally did come in for the wet tyres, but yeah, still not having a great time. Gasly, he is now dead last in this race. as Ocon still leads on lap number 30, just kind of managing the pace up the front here. You can see the weather graph there, the blue is kind of the water on track. It's only getting heavier, and then it will slowly dip down, get a bit heavier again, and then towards the end of the race will teeter out quite a lot and dry up quite a bit. But I don't know if it's going to be dry enough for dry tires, definitely. And yeah, depending on when that, you know, rain stops or slows down, depends on whether we actually go for a pit stop, as Ocon has a bit of a moment there. And then we have Pierre Gasly once again going for another slide. Yeah, he's definitely on the wets now. I can't remember. He might have been on the wets before. He might have not. But yeah, definitely is now, but still struggling. Now, Verstappen still trying to hang on to P3 in the Alpine. He's now almost 23 seconds behind Stroll. So showing that, you know, the Alpine isn't that quick. But at the moment, he's kind of getting a bit of a trail behind him as Yuki Tsunoda now goes for a move finally. He's been sitting behind him for ages. Tsunoda finally gets up into P3 to step on the podium in the McLaren. But at this point now, the track is drying up. The tyres are really wearing out. You can see how hot they are, 93 degrees for Charles Leclerc there, as Verstappen manages to get back past Tsunoda because Tsunoda has a puncture on the penultimate lap of this race. Tsunoda's got a puncture. Everybody's tyres now are bleeding out. They're getting too hot. It's too close to the end of the race to pit now, though. So look at the tyre percentages. Bottas 13% tyres for him. Tsunoda 0% because he's got that puncture. Everybody is going to have to just manage these tyres to the end now. As, speaking of Valtteri Bottas, as he comes around the final corner to start the final lap, he gets a puncture as well, and he's going to have to do a full lap now with a puncture. And now also Carlos Sainz, currently sitting in P4, he gets a puncture as well.
What a race! Esteban Ocon gets the win.
All credit to the team for the car they've put together. But without that incredible and consistent driving, it'd all be for nothing.
But it's another victory for, well, another victory for Ocon because he's already won once this season. So it's his second win of the season. And it's RB. It's our second win of the season as well. 6 rounds in, and we've won 2 races. We've managed to manage the tyres right to the end here to come home P1 for Ocon. Leclerc manages P4 as well. So that, what a recovery. P20 to P4 for Charles Leclerc. That is one hell of a drive.
There's the Frenchman, Esteban Ocon, taking to the podium, and another added to his career tally.
That sees them double their win tally for this season. They'll be delighted with that.
Well, we might be in Britain, but our podium finishers won't be celebrating with a cup of tea tonight. They'll be staying true to Formula One tradition.
Yes, what a result for Esteban Ocon and for the RB team. Our second win of the season, not what I expected coming into this season at all. Lance Stroll P2, you got to say that's a good result for him considering where he's been this season. And Max Verstappen P3 in the Alpine, 24 seconds behind Lance Stroll, but to get that Alpine on the podium is something. Charles Leclerc gaining 16 positions to finish P4. What a result for him, just worked with the strategy, came from P20 to P4. Helped by, you know, drivers having punctures at the end, but he managed his tyres and didn't get a puncture, so very well done to him. And this changes the championship quite a lot. Ocon now leads the championship by 8 points to now Max Verstappen in second place with that bigger haul of points for Alpine, and Charles Leclerc is now jumped up to P3 as well. Alonso and Bottas, who were 1 and 2, are now 4 and 5, and last in the championship is now Oscar Piastri. He did not score any points with the Red Bull, so he'll be back in the Red Bull next race. Not a good time for Piastri this season. He's not having a good time of it in this first kind of third of the season. And yeah, not looking great for him. McLaren, despite only scoring 1 point in this race, still lead the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull second. RB, though, we've jumped up to P3. We're now ahead of Ferrari and only 38 points behind Red Bull. So the sister team is only 38 points behind Red Bull. What can we do this season? We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe. and I'll see you guys in the next video.